think I might be in sports hell. The Patriots might actually be back, and I hate it. I've been betting against them and keep losing. Meanwhile, the Chiefs just beat a really good Lions team last night, so they might be back now. And now I've got my mental health tied to this Bills game on Monday night like a life raft. And so this is where I'm at as a fan is every team I root against is hot and every team I root for feels fragile. And my wallet is just taking the collateral damage. So, yeah, this week's been brutal so far. So let's talk about it from the Patriots to the Chiefs comeback and why so surely hope that the Bills save my sanity tonight. All right, so let's talk about how I think the Patriots might be back, and I hate it. I hate it so much. And the personal stake I've had in them having this comeback makes it even worse. It really does because, uh, what was it, 3 weeks ago? I bet against them when they played the Panthers. I thought the Panthers were going to win. After going 30 to nothing the week before, the Panthers decided to be bad at football again, which that's on me. I bet on the Panthers. That was maybe a little bit of an emotional fuck the Patriots pick, but that's fine. And then last week, last week, I bet on I didn't bet on them, but they did play my team. If you listen to last week's episode, you know that was, there was a lot of emotions tied into that game that were very just fuck about everything. And then the Patriots went ahead and went, hey, we know the Bills are building a new stadium, so we'll never get another chance to play here. So why don't we go beat you on your home turf? And so that's what they did on Sunday night in front of the entire world. And that hurt immensely. And then I guess it was out of spite or out of emotion. I thought they were going to, I thought the Patriots were going to be riding too high off the win against the Bills, that they would overlook the Saints and the Saints would come in and get the win. And that is not what happened. I think that was what happened for maybe the first half. I think maybe the first half kind of fit that narrative as they went into the third quarter tied 16 to 16. And that sucks, dude, because now if you look at their schedule, we're talking about a potential like 12-win team here. Unless so if you take the games that are like maybes type of thing, then they're a 10 or 11 win team. They've got Tennessee, Cleveland, the Jets twice, Cincinnati, the Giants, Miami. That right there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oh fuck, 6, 7 wins on top of the 4 they already have, which puts them at 11. And then they've got some games that, are kind of a little more TBD if we're talking Atlanta. In a few weeks here, they play Atlanta, and I could see them beating Atlanta, so that's potentially 12 wins. We've got the rematch against Buffalo. That one's on their home turf. They could win that game. That fucking sucks. And then they have Baltimore the week after that. Who knows what to expect from them? They're 1-5 right now. We're talking about a team that genuinely has the potential to win I don't wanna say win the AFC, I think the playoffs are gonna be a different story, but the Patriots have the potential to come in first place in the AFC this year, and that sucks, dude. That sucks so much. I think I'm back to hating the Patriots. I didn't for a few years there because they were so bad that they didn't really feel like a rival to the Bills, 'cause it really they were rebuilding, so it felt like, "Oh, these guaranteed games in the AFC East are really just not something that I have to think about." You take the Bills and you go to sleep happy type of spots, but now I don't think the Patriots are the case. The they're right back to winning. It's like your rebuild only lasted 4 years and now you're good again. Fuck you. Fuck you, man. No one likes that shit. It's especially okay, so look at the Chiefs last night. The Chiefs feel like they might be back too. They just beat Sunday Night Football. They beat the Lions 17-31 in NFL standards. That's a blowout. So you blew out the best team in the league, or at the very least, one of the best teams in the league. Fuck, man. Because now the Chiefs look like they're back again. And so they're probably going to make it to the AFC Championship, probably going to make it to the Super Bowl, probably going to win a Super Bowl again this year. So it's like, fuck the Patriots, fuck the Chiefs. I'm recording this before Monday Night Football, so the Bills haven't played yet. But the mental health that I have riding on this Bills game, they need to save me tonight against the Atlanta Falcons. They need to save me. Oh my gosh, the spread is 4.5 points in the Bills' favor. You know what? If they cover, great. I think that's awesome. I'll feel way better about it if they cover. But let's just focus on winning the game, I think, this week. Let's just go in, execute with some good football. Let's try not to fumble. Let's try not to throw any picks. Let's not take a lot of risks with the ball. Let's really lean into the whole everybody eats mentality that we've been using for the past couple years, and let's just get it to the open guy. And if the ball comes your way, fucking maybe hang on to it. Fucking hang on to it. How about that? Lost 2 fucking fumbles last week against the Patriots. If I don't know what it is, it feels like the fumbles are out the ass this season. They're like every team is just giving them up. But it felt like the Bills were fumbling on every possession last week. I know that's not true, but just the ball security did not feel good. We need to clean it up. I need the Bills to come in and save me this week. I don't know how I will react if they can't find a way to beat the Falcons. If we lose to the Falcons, I have no idea. I'm not gonna sit here and say that season's over because we're still gonna make a good playoff run, but I'm going to lose confidence because it's going to feel like, okay, well, now the Patriots have all the we're knocking them off of first place in the AFC East would be incredibly difficult once we give it up. The Patriots have such an easy schedule for the rest of the season that expecting to beat them in the standings would be very difficult. And if for whatever reason the Chiefs have bounced back, this is a very emotional response, but if the Chiefs have bounced back, now we're screwed. If the Ravens find a way to get healthy and they make the playoffs, the potential gauntlet that the Bills will have to go through to get to a Super Bowl in the playoffs between the Patriots, Chiefs, and Ravens. Now, I'm not going to pretend to sit here and know how that whole thing is going to shake out. That's a couple months away. But I don't think it's impossible for the Bills to have to play all 3 of those teams during the playoffs, and we could be fucked. Of course, it's the season where we're like, "Oh, we're good." things are going to have turned around for us. We're going to be in good shape. The Ravens don't look good. The Chiefs don't look good. No one in the AFC East is going to be a problem. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it feels like this season might get on top of us a little bit. We looked really good to start, and now I'm starting to lose a little bit of confidence. Because the Bills haven't looked as good as they have in the past, just the last week or two, haven't looked as good as they have in the past. And out of nowhere, the Patriots and Chiefs look really good. I don't think I would be as worried about it if it was anyone else. I don't feel worried about the Steelers. I don't feel worried about the Texans or the Colts. Even the Colts, I probably should, but I don't. But it's because we've seen it from the Chiefs and we had the 20 years of the Patriots. The all of a sudden flip on its head, mental, emotional, floor falling out as a Bills fan is like, holy shit, we cannot be losing grip of this tonight. I did not realize I chalked this. I thought we were going to go undefeated into the bye week. I chalked this season through first 6 weeks. I thought it was going to be easy when we looked at it, especially once we beat the Ravens. I thought that was the toughest game to start the before the bye week. And we won that one. So I was like, we are coasting into this thing and we'll have a nice little break, have the top of the AFC standing, undefeated. We're going to be looking really good. But all of a sudden, the Patriots have snuck up on us and they got to win and they've looked good 3 weeks in a row. All of a sudden, the Chiefs beat a juggernaut style team in the Lions. It's not good. The Colts are good out of nowhere. I don't understand what's happening, but I'm not happy about it. Am I crumbling a little bit? Maybe. Maybe that's the case. Am I a little worried? Yes, I'm a little worried. I'm not feeling good. Before we lost to the Patriots, I was at 100%. We're fucking ready to rock. And now a week later and we still haven't played yet, I find myself worried about the Falcons, which was not a place I thought I would be at this time I never thought I would have to worry about the Falcons this season, but fucking here we are. And it is a problem. So I am dealing with that a bit mentally, emotionally, psychologically, physically. Been dealing with that. I don't know if it's the spooky season getting on top of me where all my nightmares are coming to light, but it does feel like we are ticking a little bit into a horror movie for the Buffalo Bills. And I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it at all. The lead up to this game, what is it? It's 3:15 on Monday right now. By the time this game kicks off at 7:15, 7:30, whatever it is, I'm going to be all in on I'm always all in on the Bills, but I'm going to have gotten my motivation and hype up to 100%. Right now I am teetering. I'm right around 65% not worried. And by the time kickoff happens, I will be 100% not worried, and it'll probably go down from there depending on how it looks. I will talk myself into feeling better about it. I will not give my brain a choice. Is that sustainable? Is that healthy? Probably no to both, but my emotional happiness does ride on the back of a bunch of guys who wear bright blue and throw a football around. but I don't care because that's how I get through my life. I do hate that it's kinda good, kinda bad. I've got the day off today for Columbus Day, sick ass job. I am working 10-hour days the rest of the week to make up for not working today, but I do have today off, so the amount of concern I have been flooded with has just built throughout the day. The anticipation, the stagnance. All I've done today is go to the gym and think about this game, and that is a problem. That is not good for my mental health. I wish I had some type of distraction, but alas, here we are. That is not the case. And we have now talked for 15 minutes about how basically how I'm worried about the the Patriots and Chiefs again. So let's try to move on and let's just try and think about something else. Let's try and talk about something else. Fuck the Patriots. They've screwed me in the money. Fuck. Fuck you. But let's speak on some smaller storylines. Let's speak on some things that maybe I'm thinking, maybe I'm not thinking. In a little way, I'm thinking, why do I keep choosing pain? Because for one, I was good against the spread last week. I went 8-2 against the spread in the NFL last week. And then yesterday, I don't even know what my record was. I know I was dog shit in college, or at least on Saturday, I was dog shit in college. And yesterday on Sunday, I don't think I did very well in the NFL. I have not had the capacity to look. I'm fairly confident that either way through the weekend, I have lost money. Don't need to check to know that. That is a gut feeling that requires no numbers. So I'm making the wrong bets. I'm also picking the wrong games to watch. For one, I watched the London game at 9:30 in the morning. That game fucking sucked. I don't know what I was expecting going into that thing at 9:30 AM on a Sunday watching the Jets playing against the Broncos. The Broncos defense is good. I would honestly say that as a total, like team and what their expectations were, massive letdown. I'm not particularly impressed with them at all. I'm very close to saying that I was 100% right on the Bo Nix sophomore slump. I'm not going to say it outright, but there have been times where you're like, he just doesn't look as good as he did last year, which is fine. That doesn't mean he's not a franchise guy. A lot of the guys have these sophomore slumps. I think it's totally okay, but it is almost to a point. I don't know what I have as the cut line through to say that that's the case. I'm going to say I think week 10 is when I will start to of not like officially declare because who am I? But really strongly declare who is in a sophomore slump and who is not. And I think Bo Nix is on heavy lookout for that. Fortunately for the Bears, I don't believe that is the case. I think they've kind of snuck by and are looking A-okay. I think they've gotten lucky on that front, which is good for them. I'm happy for them. The Commanders, I don't know if Jaden's in a sophomore slump just yet. Again, I'm going to give this till week 10. I'm going to move off this topic. I don't think he's in a sophomore slump yet, but I wouldn't feel good if I was a Commanders fan, not so much about Jaden, but just the team feels like they're better on paper and they execute fairly well, but they just this is feel. I haven't watched a lot of Commanders games this year. They feel like they've just been banged up and are scraping by in a lot of games. They're not executing the way that they did last year. Now, they do have the disadvantage of having a significantly harder schedule than last year. And I said that going into the season. I thought they were going to have a sophomore slump from Jaden because of the schedule, but he's been hurt. He just hasn't quite looked the same, mostly due to injury in the spots that he has played. Not that he's been bad, it's just things have gone against him, which is fine. But yeah, anyway, so the Jets and Broncos was just a sad game. I think between the two teams, I think one touchdown was scored in that entire game. Holy shit. I wish I had not woken up on Sunday morning to do that. Fuck me. I was at the gym while I was watching that game. What a mistake. I should have listened to music or watched a podcast or literally anything else. That game was horrible. Horrible to watch. Field goal fest and a safety. And the safety was like important. I'm pretty sure the safety gave the Jets like an 11-10 lead in the third quarter or something. Like, what the hell was that? Oh my god, just bad football. I don't know how you guys feel on the London games or the overseas games in general. I would say so far I haven't loved them, if I'm being completely honest. I think, for one, I am not huge on starting the day with a football game that early. I feel like it really just gets in the way because it's like, well, you wanna watch it, 'cause football's on, but it hasn't felt like there's been any really good games going on at that point in the day, and also, now I've wasted my whole day. I've been so unproductive. How am I supposed to go grocery shopping, wash the dog, go out to breakfast? Buffalo Wild Wings selling breakfast now? I don't fucking think so. I ain't seen any French toast flavored wings, I know that. So, I think they're good every now and then, if it's something that feels like a treat. But it feels like we've had a lot of overseas games this year. I mean, Brazil, that sucked to open the season, and then I think we've had one, like, good-ish football game in London, and that was Vikings-Steelers, and that was kinda up in the air for a minute in terms of how good that was. Wasn't it? Like, the Carson Wentz-led Vikings did not the Carson Wentz-led Vikings against the Aaron Rodgers Steelers, not exactly breaking down the ticket booth to get into that one, you know what I mean? Like, it just did not feel good. It was a fairly close game a couple weeks ago, but just what are we doing? Let's let's dial back on these overseas games. They don't care about football the way that America cares about football. Let's stop trying to make them care about football the way that America cares about football. It's not going to happen. Let's just own that what we have going over here is something special and unique to us, and we don't have to share it with other people if we don't want to. Everyone else can play soccer. Everyone else cares about soccer. Let's just keep football for us. Is that so wrong? Is there something inherently bad about that? About us as a nation being like, you know what? We involve ourselves in a lot of conflict. Let's not get NFL teams involved with the international conflict that goes on through the world. We don't need Brazil's Miami Dolphins in a feud with London's Jacksonville Jaguars. All the different a bunch of different countries get, like, sponsorship rights or whatever the fuck to certain teams, so they're, like, teams that are like, "Oh, this you're" like, Brazil, I'm pretty sure, has, like, advertising rights or something like that to the Miami Dolphins. So, the basically that country's team is whatever team that the NFL assigns them, and that's, like, their home team type of shit. Like, "Oh, you're Dolphins fans now, you're Jags fans now, you're Bears fans now," like, shit like that. Um, but we don't need those kinds of international conflicts. Don't we have enough war in the world? We don't need to be adding football on top of it to have another large feud. We don't need it. We don't. We do not need it. Let's keep football in America and let's have these little treats every now and then with the people who are cool with us. Is 4 times a year. Let's have an overseas game. Do them wherever you want. My suggestion would be somewhere in the UK. That's just being smart about your money. Do them wherever you want. But let's cut it down to 4. I think we're doing way too many. I think the goal of having 1 every week so every team has to play overseas, I think that's a mistake. I just don't. I know from a business standpoint it probably makes sense, but as fans, let's cool it down, I think. Let's cool it way down. I made another massive game watching mistake this weekend. I chose to watch the Joe Flacco Bengals play against the Green Bay Packers, and in hindsight, I wish I would have watched the 49ers playing the Buccaneers. I think Baker Mayfield's just so much fun to watch. He's so fun, and I don't know what I was thinking watching the Bengals and being like, "Well, let's see what Joe Flacco can do." I know what he can do, which is frankly not a lot. Um, he can throw the ball down the field, but he can't move around. I will say this, one thing that I did learn from watching the Packers and Bengals play, I think maybe the Packers aren't as good as we thought they would be, and I think I mentioned that last week, but I do feel very strongly about it now, where I'm sitting here and I'm like, "Okay, I thought what we were going to be looking at was going to be more aligned with, pure dominance." I kinda thought that's what we were looking at, was that the Packers were going to be blowing every team out. I thought they were easily Super Bowl favorites, especially after week 1, especially after the Micah Parsons trade, but I'm starting to think maybe not so much the case, and I don't think that's that crazy. I think when you look at the Cincinnati Bengals and their offensive line and Joe Flacco's their quarterback, and then you look at the pretty well stacked Green Bay defense, I think you would expect Green Bay to come away from that game with more than 1 sack. I think that's a problem. I think that's a real problem when Joe Flacco can't move around and the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line has been probably the worst unit in the entirety of football in for the past couple years, only second to the Cincinnati Bengals defense. You gotta have more than 1 sack in that situation, man. What are you doing? What are you doing? I stand by it. I tried to give him his due. This is probably largely why I watched this game is because I wanted to see how Flacco looked. He looked bad in the first half. He looked like he started to put the pieces together in the second half. He didn't look as bad. He's been there for 4 days. Credit where it's due. It seems like you started to compile some things. I still think long term, you're gonna have a lot of worries when you're talking about the mobility, the quarterback position. I think if you had just traded for Jameis Winston, you'd be able to slide him around a little bit more and get some movement, get some, like maybe it's a little more off balance throws. I know that a lot of people think that Flacco is a better quarterback. And I think if you look at the scope of their careers, yes. However, I also think that if we're talking right now today, who would I want as my starting quarterback? I do think I still lean towards Jameis Winston. A fucking cannon arm. He's still athletic enough to move around. He can scramble. Last year with the Browns, he was doing front flips into the end zone. He was he's good for the locker room. He gets people energized. He's a great leader. I'm not saying Joe Flacco isn't, but at 41, how much do you really expect to get out of him right now? I think if you look at Jameis, who's 31, 10 years younger, I just think he's a better fit for the particular pieces that Cincinnati has. And are we really gonna sit here and pretend that Jameis throwing to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins is not going to be some of the most fun football that we could put on? I think it would be fantastic. I think Jameis is way closer to what Joe Burrow can do than Joe Flacco is, and that is a lot in due to the age. I'm worried that if he continues to stand up in that pocket, the non-existent pocket that the Bengals offensive line tends to create, he's not gonna be playing for very many more games this season. He's gonna get trashed. And I love Joe Flacco. I think he's very fun. Cool to root for a guy, cool to see a guy at that age still going out there and showing flashes of effective football. But let's also not pretend that Jameis probably wouldn't do a better job. I think he would do a better job. I'm just having this thought right now, which is not a fair thought, but when you kinda look at what they've got going on over there in Cincinnati, are they racist when it comes to quarterbacks? It's not a cool thing to say, but I did just say it. That's not great. If we look at the quarterbacks that are on the Bengals team right now, Joe Flacco, white guy. Jake Browning, white guy. Joe Burrow, white guy. Kick it over to the practice squad. Sean Clifford, white guy. Deshaun Watson, black guy. Not really with the team all that much, if I'm being honest. I think this is not a fair thing to put on them, but I am starting to wonder if the Bengals just might be racist when it comes to quarterbacks, because if you think about who was there before Joe Burrow, it was Andy Dalton, who might be the whitest person to ever play the sport of football. That ginger could sling it. It was the Red Rocket, but man, oh man, was he pasty. And oh, that's not fair to say, but but that might not be the case. I would have to look more into their history of backup quarterbacks. I just flatly do not know. But when you look at some of the more notable ones that have come up in the past, we'll say since 2012, I don't know how long Andy Dalton was there. It was Andy Dalton, Joe Burrow. Those guys are white. Now was Jake Browning as the backup for a while. And then they signed two more guys who were white as shit. And now they've traded for Joe Flacco, who's very white as well. So is that necessarily the most fair thing to say? No. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I just said Deshaun Watson was on the Cincinnati Bengals. He is not. I don't know why I said that. And I'm not going to edit that out. But he was not on the Bengals. I don't know where that. I think it's because I saw Joe Flacco and I just kept thinking Browns. Maybe that's why. But either way, they've got a lot of white quarterbacks. And the one guy who everyone was noisy about before the Joe Flacco trade was Jameis Winston, who is not white. He's not white at all. So maybe there's something there. Maybe there's a little thought process that I could put some. That's not cool to put on people, but if you look at just what's going on, they also have the whitest names. Jesus Christ, Sean Clifford, white as fuck. Joe Burrow feels white too. Joe Flacco's a white guy. Jake Browning. I think the worst part is that the backup white guys they have just the whitest name. Jake Browning and Sean Clifford. Jesus, man. At least Joe Burrow's kind of a cool name, and so is Joe Flacco. Maybe that's just the Joe part talking. But that is not excellent for them, I would say. That's probably a big problem. But anyway, the racist Bengals aside, why I keep finding myself betting on the Panthers, and it worked this past weekend, but that feels like it should be corrected somehow. I don't like that I keep doing that, but I do keep doing it, which is definitely a problem. Definitely need to get corrected on that. Oh, Packers defense might not be that good. Also, their offense isn't that good either. You think they'd be more explosive. They were coming off of a bye week and they played like shit and they kind of felt like they were struggling to beat the Bengals. Isn't that bad? The Joe Flacco-led Bengals almost kind of went toe-to-toe with the Green Bay Packers coming off a bye week. Anyway, the Panthers, I keep betting on them and that feels wrong. It worked this week, but that feels like it's going to come to bite me in the ass, in all honesty. And I wasn't very big on them to start the season, which made sense. They lost 2 in a row, and then they beat Atlanta 30-0. Atlanta is not a bad team. But I was like, okay, maybe they just fucking woke up. You know what I mean? They got that home game and then they felt good. But so then I bet on them to beat New England, and that's when they lost. And now they've been at home, and I haven't really bet on them. I didn't bet on them last week when they were at home because I was angry at them. But I did bet on them to cover the 3.5 against Dallas, and then they ended up winning by 3. So it is like a only bet on Carolina when they're at home type of situation. Now that becomes tough because they play the Jets next week at New York, and you want to bet on them there, but can you? I don't know. This feels like a must-win for the Jets. The one that's got me even more concerned because the history of the season has shown that Carolina only wins at home is that in 2 weeks, the Buffalo Bills go to Carolina and play at home for them. I'm building a lot of worry for Buffalo. I really, truly am. I'm very concerned. The more that I keep looking at some of these trends, the more that I become unhappy with how the trends look. And it's just, oh man. I fell right back into the trap. I was out of it for a little bit when I was talking about the racist Cincinnati Bengals. Ohio. Gosh, what a white place to be. And I immediately fell back into it when I started talking about the Carolina Panthers and how they only win at home because now the Bills have to play them on their turf, and that's problematic. I don't like that at all. I'll never bet against the Buffalo Bills. I've said that before, but that may be a game where you can't bet on them. Also, I'm done. I'm gonna bet against the Patriots all the time, or at least I hate them. I hate them so much. But they're about to go on the road at Tennessee, and Tennessee's just sucks so much, man. They're so bad that, like, God, I hate that I'm having the thought, but how do you not bet on New England? How do I not put the bet in today to capitalize on the number, which I'm sure is going to grow? I think Tennessee just fired the head coach, like, as I've been recording this or something. And then you've got the Mike Vrabel revenge game coming back. Drake May's looking and feeling himself. I think God, it kills me. I think I'm gonna bet on the Patriots. I fucking hate it so much. I'm so torn between being a good fan and being a logistical and intelligent gambler. Not that I am a good gambler, but sometimes my emotions get in the way and I just go, "Yo, fuck them. I'm betting against them." But this may be a week or a day where I have to put that aside and bet on New England and ride the cash cow. And that hurts quite a bit. I do not love that that is the case. Not one bit. Do you guys run into painful things like that? Because for one, they keep covering, which sucks, and they're gonna keep covering for the next 2 weeks at least. God damn it. The more I'm looking at the schedules and what has happened this weekend and what to expect going forward, the more unhappy I am becoming, as I have this recording go on. So I'm unhappy that I'm strongly, strongly considering betting on the Patriots. That bothers me quite a lot. And I don't like the trends that we're looking at with Buffalo and Carolina and how the next home game Carolina has is against Buffalo. That's a problem. And I don't want to think about it anymore because it makes me sad. But here we are talking about it and thinking about it. This has been a real mental trap for me I did not see coming. That really sucks. God damn it. Man, oh man. Oh, Cam Scadaboo's really good. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. He is so much fun to watch. I know that game happened on Thursday, so this is old news. It's about a week later almost, so not really impactful, but I do want it on the record, and I've put this on Twitter before. Um, I was completely fine with the Buffalo Bills moving on from James Cook if it meant that there was a way that we could get Cam Scadaboo. And I just want to say that I was right with that scenario. Am I glad we have James Cook? Yes. I think he's outplayed his current contract that we just signed him to. Do I think moving off of James Cook and ending up with Cam Scadaboo would have been good? 100%. I think that would have been good. 100%. I stand by that point of view for sure. Um, because why would that not be the case? He's electric. He had 3 touchdowns. He just keeps trucking people. He's a fucking real problem, if we're being completely honest. But yeah, Cam Scadaboo is tons of fun to watch. Speaking of fun to watch, the game I should have watched. I made a huge mistake not putting this on. 49ers at Buccaneers. God, I keep not watching Baker Mayfield, and I keep regretting it every week. You can look back my older episodes. I said Baker Mayfield, dark horse MVP candidate. Right now, today, he might be the favorite in terms of odds. I haven't looked at it, but Jesus, what he's doing, the way that that team is banged up, you can't ignore it. For one, God, he's so much fun. Even if they were losing, I'd be like, it doesn't matter. He's too much fun to watch. If I was a Tampa Bay fan, I'd keep tuning in just because he's just so fiery and so competitive, and he's the man. He is 100% the man. And to be putting up these wins almost I don't wanna say single-handedly, he's getting help, but the problem is he's not getting help from any of the starters because almost all of them are out. They are missing, their top well, I don't know how long Egbuka is gonna be out. I'm not super familiar with the injury. I just know that he did not play in the second half due to his hamstring. But if he is out, That means they're out their top 3 receivers, and they'll have Sterling Shepard, Cameron Johnson, Cade Otton, and Tez Johnson to fill their receiving roles. Unfortunately, Sterling Shepard and Cade Otton are the only guys of that list that I've even heard of before. But Baker's getting it done. He's putting up 30 points with guys who we don't know who they are. And a lot of the wins are attributed to the defense and the special teams. It takes a total team effort. But he's undeniably the guy who is leading the team and setting the tone and putting things on the line to make the plays. He's playing like an MVP. And I don't know what the money is now. I think bet it now while you can before it gets even worse, because I think his case is just going to build as the season goes on. It's going to build as the season goes on. No Mike Evans. No, what's his name, McLaughlin. No Chris Godwin. And now potentially no Emeka Egbuka. I guarantee you Baker is still going to be finding a way to. I don't know if he'll win as many games now just because that's how the football season goes and you need playmakers. He's going to keep Tampa Bay in every game. I'll be shocked if he loses any games by more than one possession at this point. And that's a surefire. That's an MVP. If he makes the playoffs with the roster the way it is now, I think he's easy MVP. I said it before the season started, a couple weeks before the season started. Dark horse MVP candidate, Baker Mayfield. I didn't bet it then. I don't bet a lot of futures. I regret it completely. It has done nothing but age well in terms of a take, and unfortunately done nothing but age poorly in terms of money. But Baker, he's so good. He's so much fun to watch, and I didn't watch him again this weekend, and I feel like a fucking idiot because I just had to watch Joe Flacco. Jesus. What a fool I was. What a fucking fool I was. I don't even know if I have a come on the back for this week right now because everyone's made me so frustrating in all these games. None of them feel like they're deserving. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I am crazy. Maybe the come on the back comes with the Bears Commanders game coming up tonight. And I know that doesn't seem like it, but don't forget 2 weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago. Sorry, I'm reading like a news alert. 2 weeks ago is the last time the Bears played, so that's a lot of preparation under their belt to go up against this Commanders team. I think that's good for them, and the Commanders seem really banged up. So do the Bears, but you give them 2 weeks to prepare, they're going to come up with something. Anyway, last year, the Bears and Commanders played, I believe, in Washington, and the Bears almost got the win. They lost on a Hail Mary in a very low-scoring game. So maybe the come on the back this week is the Bears if they come out and beat the Commanders. I think they have to. I think they have to put as much energy as they can into this game. We have the Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels narrative. We have the blown Hail Mary last season narrative. We've got the bye week narrative on, oh, how are they going to look coming back? So I am probably going to bet Bears. I mean, looking at the Yahoo Sports app, it says Washington -5.5. I think I'm going to take the Bears to cover that all day. If they win, I think they're the come on the back. I think they've earned it narratively. If they don't, then I guess I'll have to scramble and find some other guy for the fucking come on the back of this week. But I'm really, really eyeing the Bears. I know that's kind of a cop-out move to say, "Oh, I don't have one, so I'll just make one up with stipulations," but I'm putting money where my mouth is, reputation on the line, reputation that I don't have and has 0 credibility. We're putting that on the line and saying, "Bears are gonna be the come on the back of the week." I think they go out. They're the underdogs on the road in this game on Monday night. I think they come out and win the game, and I think all things considered, that would make them the come on the back of the week, and I think they've earned that this season. I really, really do. Um, yeah. I hate the Chiefs so much. I hate the Patriots again, which has been very frustrating. I hate the Ravens still, but it doesn't feel the same because they are 1-5 and Lamar Jackson isn't playing. Also, I kinda just hate Lamar Jackson more. But it's good to just recap and announce all the things that you don't like that are going on in your life, like the Chiefs winning and the Patriots winning and the Bills losing to the Patriots, and then we have the Chiefs coming out of the bye week, I'm pretty sure. So, very I'm not excited. I'm not excited. It's coming up on 4 o'clock, so by the time that the Bills game rolls around in 3 hours, I am going to find a way to get excited, but right now I'm very, very worried about a 2-2 Falcons team at 7:15. We've gotta do something to make it look like we are a fucking Super Bowl contending team because the past few weeks, I just don't think we have. We we didn't cover against the spread against the Saints, but that was a 15.5 point spread. That's a massive margin to win by in the NFL. Teams just don't do that. But I was very worried about, things going on in that game. And now here I am worried that the Patriots beat us last week and won this week. And they're probably a heavy favorite to win the AFC East. And I wouldn't say heavy favorite, but I bet you a lot of people are putting money on them. Because if you were smart with your money, that's probably what you would do. Because their schedule's cake coming up down the stretch. The Bills have some big games coming up and feel like they have been playing down to the level of the teams that they're playing at, which I don't love. I really, really do not. Maybe it's a conserve your energy type of thing like the Chiefs do, where they're like, well, we'll just shake it off and then come playoffs, we're going to fucking knock them out anyway. We're going to show them that we're the best team in the league. I'm hoping that's the case because that's the only way I can even remotely find a way to cope with the situation. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe I'm a fool. My mental health is riding on a game that hasn't happened yet, and I'm recording before that, which was probably the wrong choice. But I don't know. Maybe we'll get a fucking reaction video or something out of it. Maybe I'll get the opportunity to freak the fuck out on a camera and put it online or something. But thank you guys so much for listening. The Wild at One parlay has been just bad. I can't even believe I don't have the gall to talk about it, but we haven't hit one yet. So that's been rough. Hopefully this coming weekend we'll figure something out, but god damn, it's tough. It's tough out here. But anyway, guys, that's been the show. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you enjoy the show, go listen to Rudy Tuesday. It's a comedy podcast that I, Patrick O'Connor, do with comedians Breck Michael and Rudy Marinosi. That comes out every Tuesday. Rudy Tuesday podcast. We're changing our release days over here to Wednesday. We've done that for a couple weeks now, but that's going to keep going on. Uh, gosh, gosh. Thank you guys for listening. Let's go Bills. I hope. Jesus.